right, here we go. Today we have three-time boxing world champion, the legendary Michael Nunn is in the building. Welcome to VladTV.
Hey, thanks, Vlad, man. I appreciate you inviting me to come out, man. I'm looking forward to it.
But I've been a long time fan. It's such an honor to have you sitting here with me today.
Well, it's an honor for me to be doing an interview with you as well.
Thank you. Well, I want to get your whole story. I want to start at the very beginning. So you grew up in Davenport, Iowa?
Davenport, Iowa, correct.
Okay. And it was 4 kids?
Well, 2 girls and 2 boys, yeah, exactly.
4 kids. Okay, and it was, you were raised by your mom?
My mother, yes, sir.
Okay, where was your dad around?
My dad, he wasn't around. That's all I know. All I know is my mom raised me, and, and I thank God for raising me because she raised a heck of a man, and there's no such thing as a woman can't raise a man because my mother made me everything that I ever became, so all praise, given to her, and, thank God as well.
So did you ever meet your dad?
Yeah. We had a good relationship. Everything was good. I mean, it's just that, I was a kid. I don't know what happened. I never asked my mom. It was never important. As I was growing up, I just knew that my mom was my mom, and, I love my mom. She's my mom and dad.
Okay. So during this time, growing up in Davenport, what kind of area was it? Was it kind of a middle-class area?
It was, I'll say middle class because it's back in the Midwest, and it was middle class. Hardworking people from, down south come from the south to the north back in the 60s, and my mother happened to be one of those persons. Just a hard-working community in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying?
Right, but you're talking about a single mom with 4 kids. That must have been tough.
It was real tough.
Yeah.
It was super tough.
I mean, as a kid, before you started boxing, were you getting in trouble or you were pretty much a good kid?
I was pretty much a good kid, but I had my, I get in trouble at school and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a fist fight here, or whatever, but, nothing too drastic.
Okay, so were you getting into a lot of fist fights at school or not really?
I had my share, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Did you win them all?
I won most of them. I got a pretty impressive fight record. Yeah.
Okay. So around that time when you were a teenager, a bunch of your friends were boxing.
Yeah.
So you decided to try it out as well.
Yeah, what happened, a guy named Pena, let him rest in peace, one of the greatest trainers ever come out of the state of Iowa, sensational coach and a good man. He's military-minded, so he was a Spanish guy, and he knew how to deal with his kids, especially his hard-headed kids from the neighborhood or whatever. So, he was real good about, disciplining, and you come to the gym, you come to work. So I'd go down to the gym, and I sit around watching my buddies box and work out every day. And he told me, he said, you've been coming for a week. He said, you come here next week, you're going to put a glove on, shadow box, do a push-up, jumping jack, jump rope, you're going to do something, right? And that's cool, Albino. So when I came back that Monday, he said, hey, I told you, come back, you got to do something. So it was weird, Vlad, I started boxing, and he like, who's been training you? I said, no, what do you mean who's been training me? Nobody. I just admired Muhammad Ali so much, and, I just tried to do everything Ali done. It was just crazy, just a young kid growing up in Davenport, not having no father figure, nothing. And I just admired Muhammad Ali so much. So I was just boxing. Whatever I seen him do, I tried it. And just so happened when I done it, it was done at a good pace. And they like, well, you've been trained before. I said, I've never been trained before. And I was just a pretty skilled guy. And I thank God for instilling those talents upon me. But, everything just worked out for me.
Okay, so you start boxing and, Alvino Pena, he said that if you worked hard, you could be a world champion.
When the man see me, he told me, he said, listen, man, he said, you keep doing what you're doing. He said, I guarantee you. He told everybody. He's the first guy that ever told me that I could be a world champion. He's the first person to tell me. And this was probably like 1976, 1977. So, I mean, it was amazing how he, superseded and seen things so far ahead. But with the right mindset and the proper training, you can be what you want to be. And he was sure right about that.
I mean, as a kid, when this boxing trainer in your neighborhood tells you you could be a world champion, and at that time, there has never been a world champion.
Never.
Did you actually believe him and take it to heart?
Well, I mean, I was like, yeah, he just talk. He just want me to come to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Typical boxing trainer. You know what I'm saying? They tell you this just to get you to fight or whatever. But he was really sincere. He was dead heart. So
Okay, so now you start training.
Yes.
Did things escalate pretty quickly after that?
Very quickly. I mean, it was amazing because when I was a young guy, they was like wanting to put me with older guys, but when you get to be like 17 years old to box the open guys, and I'm beating everybody up in the juniors, they figure like, well, we heard this guy, heard him turn 17 or 16 years old, so we can advance to the Golden Gloves because they wanted to see how far I could really go in this great sport of boxing, and I just really I took off, man. It was amazing when I got the opportunity.
Well, right. You started competing in the Golden Gloves.
Yeah, I started competing in the Golden Gloves, and I would get to the tournaments, and they would always want to give me the outstanding awards trophies before the fights even started. I said, no, gotta wait like everybody else. But I just superseded everybody, and they like, well, he's gonna win this, he's gonna win that, and it's whatever division I went to, the guys would either lead the division or go up in weight or whatever. They didn't want to, be in the division. I was there. Nobody wanted to fight me, and it was great, fighting in the state of Iowa, but I had to test the waters, nationally or either worldwide. And, when I got the opportunity to do that, it got even better because I'm like, well, I can be a world champion. I mean, the belief system, started to change. And, people like Emmanuel Stewart, Mr. Bob Serkine, which is my boxing advisor, and like Alvino just, kept me on the right track. And I had a cousin named Marshall Jackson. This guy was like John Gotti on me. He wouldn't let me do nothing wrong. Yeah, like I couldn't make no mistakes, you know what I'm saying? But, I thank him, let him rest in heaven. He passed within the past couple of years, but he was just so stern, and at the time, he was so hard on me. I didn't understand it, but now that I'm older and I look back, he really saved my life. Him and a lot of other older gentlemen back in the Quad Cities that seemed that I had a talent, and I was just young and full of piss and vinegar, didn't know better, and I'm just out there doing stupid stuff. And they're like, man, you can really be a world champion. And when I started really believing it, and it came to fruition, and I thank all them men that led, taught, and guided me, and kept me on the right track. And my greatest joy, Vlad, is a lot of those guys that passed on. Some are still living, but some passed on. But they was there July 28th, 1988, when I knocked out Frank Tate, becoming the middleweight champion of the world. These just regular working guys, hustling guys in the streets, whatever, but just wanted to see a young dude do good because my state has never had a world champion before. So they had somebody to band on and to get behind and to push. And they really wanted to see me prosper and be successful. So I give special thanks to a lot of those older guys because they kept me out of a lot of SHIT, man. I would have probably been in trouble or dead a long time ago without them, but I want to give special thanks to all the guys. They kept me on the right track because they seen the talent when I didn't see it. And especially Marshall. That was my older cousin. He was like a military general. I can call his wife right now. She used to tell Marshall, you was once upon a time 20 years old and you was doing dumb stuff, so you made mistakes, and he's all right. He's going to be all right. Just let him do his thing. He's growing up. He's learning. You got to go through it to grow through it.
Well, you won 3 Iowa Golden Gloves.
Yes, I did.
Titles.
Yeah, yes, I did. 3 different weight classes.
Yeah, and your amateur record was 168-8.
Exactly, correct.
So you had a few losses along the way.
Oh, no, that's all part of the process, and that's how I got good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to, understand how to lose to be a winner, but I mean, it was, it was great. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't change nothing.
Well, just as a side note, because you mentioned how much you looked up to Muhammad Ali.
Oh, loved.
Right around 1980, which, Ali had his last fight. Mm-hmm. And leading up to the fight, he was in bad shape. You saw these interviews, and he's slurring his words. He's talking slow. Because remember, Ali was the rhyming guy, the fast. He's smarter than everyone. He can out-talk you.
Yeah.
He'll
talk you.
He'll crack on you and everything.
That's
and you're
right.
seeing these last few interviews, and the Parkinson's is starting to really play a role. And then his last fight against Trevor Berbick was awful.
Tragic. I don't want to see that fight no more. And, I don't want to see the Larry Holmes Muhammad Ali fight. Those 2 fights, I don't never have to see again. I mean, because, I loved Ali so much. I don't want to see him take that unnecessary punishment that he took.
Yeah, I mean, people were upset. I remember
very upset.
when I interviewed, Larry Holmes, we talked about how Trevor Berbick died. I think his, nephew beat him to death with, a metal pipe or something.
Yeah, I heard something.
And he was like, yeah, exactly. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He's like, God don't like ugly, and, that's what he gets. Berbick ended up getting murdered by his own nephew at 52 years old some years later.
I don't feel bad for him. God don't like ugly. You do ugly to people, it'll come back to you. God don't like ugly. And he was ugly. He beat anybody. He beat his daughter. Let me forget about that guy because this is so tragic. And his soul is resting. I don't know in peace or not, but it's resting.
And I remember when we interviewed Mike Tyson, and he fought Trevor Berbick. He said he hated him so much for what he did to Ali that he just let him have it.
He obliterated him. He destroyed him. He punished him. He crushed him.
Exactly.
Yeah, he did that.
Berbick was the last person to fight Ali, and he hurt Ali very bad. When you fought him, was there any revenge?
100%, yes, no doubt about it. I was going to kill him. And I saw the way he was beat. He was hitting Ali really hard with everything he had. Ali didn't have nothing left. He could have been, but he was trying to kill him. So I said, I can't wait till I get him.
He said that was probably the most angry fight that he had ever been in.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yep. So it hurts you to actually see
Yeah,
Ali
it
in
does
that.
because you had so much admiration and respect for him, and then for him to be in the ring and shouldn't have never been in the ring due to his condition.
Yeah.
But we understand how things go, about the money or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, just he should have never been in the ring. Yeah.
I mean, was that a concern? Because I mean, at this point,
It's
you
always
sound
a concern, no doubt
completely
about it.
lucid.
Yeah.
But I have interviewed boxers that by the time they reach your age, they're talking a lot more slowly, and Riddick Bowe, is not 100% when I interviewed him. Obviously Muhammad Ali went through what he went through. Were you worried that if you stayed with the sport that eventually this might affect your brain and all the damage?
Well, you got to understand, I'm human just like everybody else. I'm not Superman.
Right.
So it's always going to be on your mind to know that, if you stay around doing anything too long, especially a rough gangster, bad sport like boxing, sit around, 45, 50 years old, taking punishment unnecessarily is not worth for nobody. I mean, boxing short term, you do it while you can do it, then you get out the way. You try to be the best you can as you do it, but there's going to come a time when you can't box no more. Now, I would probably love to still box today, but now that I'm older, I look back like, I had to be crazy. Now that I'm 61 years old, I look back, I used to do that. I had to be crazy, but I guess we all have to have a little craziness in us to do it, but it was great for me, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it.
Well, by 1984, you're 21 years old. The Olympic trials are starting.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have aspirations to fight in the Olympics?
Believe it or not, I had aspirations to participate in the Olympics. I didn't know what the Olympics was. I'm a guy from Davenport, And when they got to tell me, hey, man, you can go to the Olympics and box and do this and all this. I'm like, really? So I started doing it, and I boxed all the way to the Olympic trials, boxing finals, and I lost to Virgil Hill at 165 pounds. I should have been boxing 156, not to make no excuses, but the United States Olympic Boxing Committee, through Emmanuel Stewart, because he had Frank Tate, they wanted to make their passes easy. So he goes to the committee and he tells me, he said, well, why don't you guys move Nunn up to 165? Because I'm a big guy, but I was light. And, I didn't care. I just wanted to fight, you know what I'm saying? And, me and Frank, we had fought 3 times as amateur. He beat me twice. I beat him once. And they had me move up to 165. So I fought Virgil Hill. And Virgil Hill, he beat me in the finals to go to the Olympics. So I was an alternate to Virgil Hill. But they had this kid named Michael Grogan. He was like number 1 at 165. Virgil was 0-4 against him. Every time he fight Virgil, he beats Virgil. And every time I fight Michael Grogan, I beat him. I fought him twice, and I beat him both times. But, Virgil ended up winning the berth to go to the United States. Go to the Olympics and represent the United States. And I think he should have got the gold medal, but unfortunately, a bad decision, he got the silver.
Yeah, the Olympics are legendary for robbing American boxers.
Well, they are.
Let me think. Holyfield,
Roy Jones,
Mayweather.
Oh, well, no doubt about it. Exactly.
These were all people that were robbed at the Olympics.
And it's amazing that how they talk about taking boxing out of the Olympics. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show with all the stuff going on that, take all the BS out of the game and let the best fighter win. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what it should be about. Whoever wins, if somebody beat me, it's okay. I come back, maybe the next time I beat him. I don't want no gift decisions. Amateur, pro, no matter where I'm at. If I win, I win. If I lose, hey, let me get beaten. Let me go back to the dungeon and let me, get myself in better condition, work on my skill sets, and come back and be able to beat a man. I don't want no gift decisions. Never have.
Well, after the whole Olympic thing, you turned pro.
Well, what happened? I was deciding on turning pro or not turning pro, and Dan Goosen, which is from right here in the San Fernando Valley, he met with me and me and my mother and talked. Said, hey, I can make this kid champion like 3 or 4 years. And my mom, she listened like, yeah, everybody's always saying what they can do. But she said, hey, the money I'm going to give you now, I'll double it if he's not champion in like 3 or 4 years, right? So mom's what the heck? She said, hey, you ain't doing nothing. You go to California and, take care of your business and we'll see where it goes. And go out there and work hard and I'm going to pray hard and I'm going to wish nothing but the best for you. And she done that. And when I got with the Goosen organization, we took it, we ran it up. We done what we supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? We had it like, nobody wanted to fight us. I'm talking about the best in the world, the Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, and Sugar Ray Leonard. I never wanted to fight Marvin Hagler due to the fact that he was a little bit older, but I used to go to like training camps with him and he used to like give me like wisdom and advice and tell me what to do about training hard and be for real about the game and don't go in the ring out of shape and bring your own judges with you. And I said, what do you mean, Marvin? I can't bring my judges. I thought that was against the law. He's talking about your left hand and your right hand. He said it's good to have your managers, your promoters, your trainers and stuff, but it's just you and your opposition in the ring. So always go in there fully prepared. And I learned a lot from Marvin Hagler. So
Well, you go pro and you win your first 30 fights.
37 straight.
37 fights.
36, 37 straight, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Didn't want to, you know.
Yeah, but it was in the 30s, no doubt
Yeah,
about
it was in the 30s.
We didn't know what
which
losing
is
was
a
like.
big deal.
Yeah.
So you're hitting the ground running.
Oh, no.
You're a force. And then it was time to fight Frank Tate, who was 23-0 at the time. Now, you guys have fought before
Yeah, we fought
as amateurs.
Exactly.
And he won 2 of the times?
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Twice.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. But this is amateur, and now you're going into a professional fight.
2 different leagues.
And Tate actually was kind of trash talking you.
Well, he was doing a lot of trash talking. You know what I'm saying? A lot of trash talking.
Right. He said you're more known for your skills and your punching power. He said, I don't think Nunn has what it takes to be a world champion. In order to be an IBF champion, he has to fight me, and I don't think he will. I hope he does. That'll be over really early, and it'll be an easy fight.
So he said that was his mindset at the time. You know, we had to change it.
Okay. You guys eventually fought. And how did that go?
Not so good on Frank's side. I mean, Frank took a beating before I knocked him out. And then, like I say, you know, not to be bragging, and then, you know, I knocked him out twice in one night. And if you go back and watch that fight, Vlad, you just watch the 8th round, and within a couple seconds in the 8th round, I hit him with, I think, a liver shot. I knock him down. He's down on the canvas for 15, 16 seconds. I've never seen a white guy go so crazy in the corner. I'm talking about Joe Goosen, my trainer. He goes ballistic. He blows up, right? He's cussing the commissioner out and everything. He's like, the fight's supposed to be over with. And so when I come back to the corner in the 8th round, he tells me, sit down. He's like, Nunn. He's saying some nasty words. He said, trying to take the world title from you. He said, you go out there and hit this guy everywhere but up under the bottom of his feet. If he lift his feet high enough, hit him up under his feet. So he just go out there and just finish this guy, because it was just a bad situation with us knocking him down. They should have really stopped the fight, but unfortunately they didn't. And we just had to go out there and finish it. Had to go out there and crush him.
Right. 9th round TKO.
Yeah.
And now you were the first person from Iowa with a world championship belt.
Yes, I was.
With all your people in the audience.
Oh, my mother, my brothers, my sisters, my kids, my children's mother, and a whole bunch of people from my community. And it was just wonderful. I mean, everybody, a lot of people from my community came, and it was a crowning achievement moment for me, because, you know, I wanted to, thank them for all the support they gave me over the years.
I mean, at that point, was that the greatest moment in your life?
It was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was something that never been done before. And, I got a chance to do it in front of my mother, my kids, my people in my community, and the world. So it was great. It was really great.
Well, yeah. KO Magazine named you the Fighter of the Year.
Correct.
And in your first title defense, you knocked out Juan Roldan.
Oh, tough guy, tough guy.
8th round.
It was weird, Vlad, because 3 years before that, or 4 years before that, I'm at my mom's house in Davenport watching Juan Roldan fight Marvin Hagler. And 3.5 years later, I'm in the ring, look across the ring, I'm ready to fight this guy. So that was exciting, amazing.
Right. So now you've defended your title one time, and then you had your second defense. Former champion Sumbu Kalambay?
Yeah, Samu Kalambay, yeah.
Now, this was a hell of a fight.
Well, it was supposed to be at the time, supposed to be my toughest fight. And then this kid, Samu Kalambay, had never lost to American middleweight before. He had beat Iran Barkley, I think Doug DeWitt, and then Michael McCallum. So, he beat some great champions from the States. So, and for me to go out there and obliterate him, it was a great moment.
First round knockout.
It was something that happened that we never went out looking for that, because when we were at the training camp, we trained to boxing for 12 rounds because, he's a good fighter. I mean, we just go out there and catch him with a shot. I mean, we wasn't going out looking for no knockout, but it's weird that Joe Goosen knew I would knock him out, which is crazy, but my mindset was just be sharp in boxing, because he was a classic fighter as well and a good fighter. And, Joe just always knew I was going to knock him out, but my mindset wasn't really to knock him out, but unfortunately the shot came 88 seconds after the first round, and I threw it, and it caught him, and it got him out of there. We trained to box him for 12 rounds.
Yeah. Well, that became the knockout of the year.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Because it was something that we've done that nobody anticipated. When it happened, it shook the world, you know what I'm saying? So there's the opportunity. I got a chance to shock the world. He can't punch, he can't do this, can't do that. Well, he just knocked the WBA middleweight champion of the world out in 80 seconds of the first round. And at that particular time, Vlad, that was the third fastest knockout in the history of the middleweight division.
Huh.
I think Marvin Hagler had the fastest. Then there's a guy like Henry Grubb had the second fastest, and I'm third on the list. So that was a crown achievement moment for me as well. So I can't punch, I can't do none of these things, but I'm doing all these special things.
Did you actually unify the belts with that fight?
Believe it or not, what happened, we were supposed to unify the belts, but when we got in the ring and the bell rung, the WA stripped Kalambay. So when I knocked him out in the 88 seconds of the first round, I'm thinking I'm getting a belt. I'm not getting another belt, but my promoter Bob Arum, he made it up for us because, like I said, we got I think $1 million apiece for the fight. But there was some other things done for me, and I thank Mr. Bob Arum for doing what he done because, like I said, it was such a crowning achievement moment, and just to go out there and devastate and destroy Kalambay like that. Because I'm not gonna brag. I knew I was gonna do that. No, it wasn't about that because my thing was to box, be sharp, and be classic, and just beat him because he's a good fighter. I'm taking nothing from him then as well as now, and we got him out of there. And I'm just glad I got the victory. And I'm glad I threw that overhand left when I threw it.
Well, you got $1 million for that fight.
Yes, I did.
That was the most money you ever got at that point.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
What did you do with the money? I mean, coming
from
a single mom with 4 kids.
Well, I took care of my family, took care of my mother, my kids, and took care of myself as well. But I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I earned it. So it's crazy, Vlad. When I knocked Kalambay out that night, I lost $1 million check. I lost the check. It's documented. What happened? After the fight, we was gonna go out and stuff. They're like, hey, you middleweight champion, well, you knocked Kalambay out. You this and that. Got $1 million check. I stuffed it in my sock after the fight. Don't even shower, nothing. Just throw my clothes on. They're like, you the middleweight champion of the world. Let's go. So we go hang out, have a couple of drinks and go celebrate, right? So when I get back to the hotel room that night, my brother said, where's the check? I said, it's in my sock. I go to look. The check is gone.
You lost $1 million
Listen,
check.
I lost. It's a true story. It's worldwide. They know this. I lose $1 million check. So I get back to the hotel room. We get back to the Hilton. And my brother said, where's the check at? That's also in my sock. I go in my sock. It's not there. I said, oh, man. You lost the check? So what happened, they got a hold of Bob Arum. They said, don't even worry about it. Who's going to cash $1 million check on Sunday in Las Vegas by the name of Michael Nunn if it's not Michael Nunn? So they said, don't wait. Bob Arum says, if we don't find the check, he'll just he'll give me another check because it ain't like somebody's going to cash $1 million check, right? On a Sunday in Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that?
I'm sure you were freaking out, though.
Oh, no, crazy, man. I'm losing my mind. But so Goosen tells me, he said, no, he said, just relax, man. He spoke to Bob Arum. And Bob Arum said, if the check is not retrieved or found or whatever, that he would rewrite us a check. So about maybe an hour later, the guy that works downstairs in the bar room where he's at, he finds a check. So when he finds a check, the guy, he goes tells his people at the Hilton, hey, here's the champ's check. I want to give it to him. And they said, oh, you know what? He go up to his room and give it to him. You know what I'm saying? So he come up to the room. I took care of him. I think he gave him like $400 or $500. Loose change that Atlanta around here, man. The guy didn't want the money. He knocked on the door, so we in the room, we eating and having a couple of drinks, socializing, having a great time. And when the doorbell rings, my brother goes to the door, let him rest in peace. He said, I think one of the maids or something. I said, what does he want? Let him in. What's going on? Oh, I got a check for Michael Nunn or whatever. And they said, here's your check. I said, let him in. So that was kind of cool, man. I'm glad. What happened while we was out dancing and stuff at the hotel, the check must have fell out on the dance floor or whatever. But the guy, when he's cleaning up, he found it and he bought me my check. So thank God for that. So
Crazy
Bob Arum
story.
didn't have to write me another check.
Crazy.
Yeah.
In one way, you get all this acclaim for knocking out Kalambay in 88 seconds, but it was hard for you to get fights after that because people didn't want to fight you.
Super hard. It was crazy, man. It was super hard, Vlad. And the only thing I really wanted to do after I fought Kalambay was either fight Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Duran. Then I don't want to box no more. That was my objective, is just to be done because I'm already, done what I wanted to do, put myself in a good position, and wanted to just move forward. But unfortunately, those fights just never transpired. So it was good and then it was bad because once they seen, matter of fact, Sugar Ray, he was doing the commentating the night of the fight. So, Ray Leonard's the same size as Kalambay. I think they're both about 5'9.5", 5'10". So Ray's doing the commentating on the fight. And see, when I knocked him out, Ray changed his mind. But I just wish I could have just tested my skills with the legendary Roberto Duran skills, Thomas Hearns skills, and Ray Leonard skills. Those are the 3 fights that I always wanted to do once I got to that level.
Well, you were supposed to fight Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
But Leonard passed because he did the third fight against Roberto Duran, which was a lot more money.
Oh, well, it was a whole lot more money, and then I think Ray knew better, too. I think he had a better chance of beating Roberto Duran than beat me. So, yeah. Ray's my man. And matter of fact, Ray invited me to his house about a year and a half ago. Had a great time, got a chance to, meet his mother-in-law. I already knew his wife. And, he had a great time. He showed me, Chris Smith, a guy by the name of Ephra Joffrey, and my used-to-be girlfriend. We all went over there and had a good time. And, Ray really, looked out for us. And thanks a lot, Ray.
Okay, so then you have your third defense against Iran Barkley.
Yeah.
And although you won majority decision, it wasn't like a really exciting fight.
No, what I mean, Iran is, I was just with Iran last week in Atlantic City. He's my dear friend. I mean, big, strong, physical, and just wherever he hits you, he hurts you. Every punch he throws is a knockout punch. So, it was a real, hard, tough 12-round fight. And, I'd have loved to knock him out, and unfortunately I didn't, but I done enough, I think, to win the fight. So, it was a great fight with a tough, rugged guy. A guy that's coming off 2 wins over Thomas Hitman Hearns, not bad.
Well, your own promoter, Bob Arum, started criticizing you.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you the reason why Bob started criticizing. The reason why Bob started criticizing because Dan Goosen used to tell him all the time. He said, you always telling if Nunn beat this guy, he's going to fight this guy. It's all, BS. I mean, the game they played. And he made it sound like this, but you tell us we're going to fight Sugar Ray, we're going to fight Duran, we're going to fight Toney. And unfortunately, just never had. And I guess, he was at Land's End, we was at Land's End too. We could have said a whole lot of stuff, but like I said, we didn't care what he said because whatever he said, you said what you're going to do and you didn't do. So, hey, we done our part, you didn't do yours.
Yeah, he said Nunn is 2 rounds of fighting and the rest is dance.
Yeah.
And then he actually released you from his promotional contract.
He was going to be done anyway, because he couldn't get us a fight. So Dan Goosen was looking for somebody else for me to sign with to be able to, continue our career. You know what I'm saying? Got to understand, we was successful with Top Rank. And I got nothing to say about Top Rank. Only thing I had to say about Top Rank is I just wanted to fight Sugar Ray, Toney, or Duran. And that's all Dan Goosen ever wanted. You know what I'm saying? That's all I ever wanted. That was our main objective, is to get to that level to be able to fight these guys. And we can't get mad because, Bob, you the promoter. We trying to make the fight happen. And you doing the Big Four thing is cool. I want to be a part of that, man. I'm not going to fight for the rest of my life. And I want to be able to showcase my talents and be able to see what I could have done with Roberto Duran or Sugar Ray or Thomas Hitman. Once I got that level, that's all I wanted to do, is check my skill set against these great fighters.
Well, you were supposed to fight Thomas the Hitman Hearns, but then Hearns moved up in weight.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I hear, you know what I'm saying? Tommy's my dear friend. I just wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying, Vlad? I didn't, all these different excuses. Let's just get in the ring and fight, because fights are won inside the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can talk to him. I'm blue in the face. Tommy can talk. Get in the ring and find out, because that's the only way we're going to know, because we can have our imagination of who might win, but it means that get in the ring and just, let's find out.
Right, because the next fight was Marlon Starling.
Yeah.
Which you won by majority decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, now you're consistently defending your belt.
Yeah.
Are you kind of getting comfortable being the champion by this point?
I'm getting comfortable. Still want them other fights, but unfortunately they never came. Yeah. You're always comfortable, but, you want to fight the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, it never happened.
Okay. So then you go to France for your 5th defense, and you knock out Hall of Famer Donald Curry, 10 rounds. So 5 defenses, you're,
rolling.
You're rolling. You're doing your thing. But then in 1991, you fight James Toney.
Oh, yeah. James was a nightmare. Yeah, he first got to beat me. Yes, sir.
He was a 20-1 underdog in that fight.
Okay.
Do you feel that you didn't take it seriously? Like in terms of training?
To be honest, not to make no excuse. James just was a better man that night. Like I said then, I say now, I don't make no excuses, but he was just a better man that night. I think I should have won, but unfortunately I didn't. And he won, and we're not going to take nothing from him, because he trained, prepared, and done everything he was supposed to do. He done what he's supposed to do, and he beat Michael Nunn that night, so I'm not going to take away his glory.
Well, you were actually ahead of points.
Oh, I'm winning the fight hands down.
After 10 rounds,
yeah.
Then the 11th round,
got careless and got caught. Yeah, right. And so I fought myself from that. I think, Vlad, what I done is I learned so much after that fight, because you win the fight and then you lose the fight. That's something you just got to get over. But it's something I had to overcome and just get over, because I know in my mind that I could have beat him, but unfortunately I didn't, and he won the fight, so I got to give props what they do. And I wish I could have done a rematch with him, but unfortunately, that was never going to happen.
Well, I think probably the worst part about that fight is you were fighting in your hometown.
Yeah, that's
Davenport, Iowa. So you had the hometown crowd.
Had the hometown crowd, yes,
You
I
know,
did.
I mean, fighting in your hometown, you're coming off all these, 5
Successful
defenses. Do you feel like your head may have been a little bit
I think
swollen?
so. I must say, yeah. Your head gets swollen, but like I say, we learn from the mistakes that we make, and I learned a lot after that fight.
Well, Angelo Dundee was your trainer during
Yes,
that
he
time.
was.
And he trained Muhammad Ali,
Sugar Ray Leonard,
Sugar Ray, George Foreman.
Jose Annapolis, a lot of great champions.
Was there something special about Angelo Dundee that was different from all your other trainers?
Yeah, Angelo was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a lot older and he's been around a lot longer. And he was a psychiatrist. I mean, he was a great trainer. I mean, he could take a guy that has no experience and train him for 6 months and turn the kid into a world champion just all because of the way he trained the guy, his mindset and the stuff that he instilled in you. I mean, Angelo was legendary when it came to that. You know what I'm saying? And I used to just love just listen to Angelo talk. You know what I'm saying? With him training Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Patterson, Jose Annapolis, George Foreman. I mean, so many great fighters, and it made me feel good to be part of a team like that because he was great. He was phenomenal.
So after the loss to James Toney, you moved up to super middleweight. Was there a reason why you moved up in weight?
Yeah, because not to make no excuses. When I fought James, I killed myself to make the weight class, but that's no excuse. He was just a better man. And I said, well, if I'm going to fight, I'm not going to fight at middleweight no more. I fought like 36 or 37 times. Look at me. I'm a big guy. I'm the same size as I am now, but I'm just a few pounds heavier. And I'm killing myself to make middleweight. So I said, well, let me move up in weight if I'm going to fight, because there's no need for me to fight if I'm not going to move up in weight, because it's going to be useless, because I can no longer make the middleweight division and be successful. I mean, I could have made the weight, but was I going to be the fighter I was? Quite naturally, I wasn't. So I think I needed to move up in weight. It's time for me to move up in weight. And I think I fought one fight, and I want to say I fought Randall Yonkers. We fought at the Mirage in Las Vegas, and I signed with Don King, and he told me, like, well, I can't win the fight for you, but if you win the fight, I guarantee you'll be fighting Victor Cordoba in the next fight for the super middleweight championship of the world. So I went out and stopped the kid, Randall Yonkers, in the 10th round, and, was put in position to fight the kid, Victor Cordoba, and that's what ultimately happened. And I became the super middleweight champion. So after I lost my middleweight championship to James Toney, I think I went without being champion for about maybe a year or whatever. That made me feel better. And I felt much better fighting 168 pounds too.
Well, signing to Don King, this is one of the most polarizing figures in boxing.
Yes, it is.
I remember when we interviewed Mike Tyson, he told the story about how he beat up Don King this one time.
I think I heard that, or somebody told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was on Don King's private plane, and he was broke at this time, because he had, burned through a bunch of his money.
Okay.
And he was looking at him. I think he was high. He was
Okay.
thinking about how all this money was his money. And I guess at one point, they start to drive, and he just lost it and just beat him up on the freeway.
Wow.
They had to pull over the car and,
Wow.
so forth. And, I've interviewed people, Larry Holmes, he was represented by Don King at one point, and he said, he didn't really say anything bad about him. He said he has his ways.
I got nothing bad to say about Don King, to be honest. And like I tell people, if you come down and say, here's $1 million, say something bad, I can't really say nothing bad about him, because he always gave me my money, so I never had no problem with that, Don. And sometimes he would give me my money early if I wanted it. So I just never had no problem with Don King. Only problem I think I might have had, him not giving me the Nigel Bay and Chris Eubanks fight, because once I won the super middleweight title, I figured, like, well, I go over to London, and fight them guys. I don't care, you know what I'm saying? They were like the top middleweights at the time then, other than, Sugar Ray, Tommy, and Duran and Hagler. Those was like the second best of the middleweights, because them guys, the Kings was just the Kings, and let's give them their props. But this kid, Nigel Ben, I think if I could have went over to London and fought him, I think it would have been a big fight with him or the kid, Chris Eubanks, because they were both dynamite fighters. They was world champions and had a big following over in Europe, and they could fight.
Well, I mean, you kind of touched on this. So you fight Victor Cordoba for the WBA lineal super middleweight title. 12-round split decision, but it was a little bit controversial.
It was controversial.
First
Well, that's what I'm saying, Vlad. When I fought Victor, it was definitely controversial. He knocked me down in the 10th round, and I got up, and I came back, and I think I done enough to win the fight. But you got to remember, they gave me the split decision win over him. He was the world champion, not taking nothing from him. So when I tell Don King and Angelo Dundee after the fight, I said, well, who you want to fight next? I said, Victor Cordoba. They said, you just fought him. I said, I want to run it back because, look, in my heart and in my mind, I knew that they, kind of like gave me the fight, but I want to do it again with this guy. I said, I don't want to fight nobody. I want to run it back with Victor Cordoba. So like maybe 4 months later, we ran it back. And the second fight, and in Memphis, Tennessee, I obliterated him. I beat him the way I was supposed to beat him. I done everything but knock him out. But I wanted to show him that, I can beat you, Victor Cordoba. I mean, the first fight was super close. And he was a champion, and they gave me the split decision.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. But I honored it by saying, hey, bring this dude back. Because Don King and Angelo said, you sure you want to do that again? I said, yeah, because it was something in my mind that I knew that, there's something more I could have done. And I said, just give me one more shot at this. And I want to just obliterate this guy. And, in the second fight, I beat him, hands down.
Right. That rematch was a 12-round unanimous decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So no one
Much
could say
closer.
anything at that
Well, you got to take the doubters out because, I think he won, I think he won. You got to eliminate that. You know what I'm saying? The only way you eliminate that is get back in the ring and you prove it. You don't just profess with your mouth. You prove it with your action. And the second time after I beat him the second time, he even told me, he don't even speak English. He said, you win the fight this time. But it was all good, because it was something I think I needed to do. And I'm glad I done it.
Well, but then that next year you fought Steve Little.
Right.
And you actually lose. 12-round split decision.
Right.
Another huge upset.
Yeah. Well, I don't really think I lost a fight, but that's what the judges said over in Germany, and that's what it was, and no excuses. I mean, they said he won, but I couldn't understand why he won, but he won, and let's not take nothing from him.
After that, you fly to Ecuador to fight Frankie Lyles.
Mm-hmm.
You end up losing.
Another fight I thought I won, but, that's how the judges seen it that way. And, I've never been an excuse maker, you know what I'm saying? When I win, when I lose, I do whatever. I just like, hey, okay, well, I just got to work a little bit harder, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no time for no pity party.
Right. It was a unanimous decision in the 12th round.
Yeah.
So you had a bunch of other fights. I think you had like 9 consecutive wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a title shot again versus Graciano
Racciani. Yeah.
For the WBC light heavyweight title. 12-round split decision, you lose again.
Right.
And you actually felt like you won that fight.
Well, it was kind of crazy. I mean, my manager at the time, Dan Goosen, he was filing a lawsuit against the WBC to protest a bad decision. But, I'm a firm believer in that, I fight, I want to win fights inside the ring. I don't want to do it through the court system because, you just want the judges to be fair. But unfortunately, they're not always fair, and we see that a lot. But my thing is, I just wanted hey, I don't want to be trying to sue nobody for no victory because I think I done enough to win the fight. And I think the fans over in Germany seen I done enough to win the fight. And it was kind of weird. After the fight, we in the room, talking to the media, me and Joe Goosen, we the only one up there on the podium. Racciani and others, people nowhere around, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's kind of strange, but it is what it is, man. And we felt we won the fight, but unfortunately, they took the fight. But, thank God for a guy by the name of Mr. Jose Suleiman. Unfortunately, he wasn't in Germany that night. He had some family issues that he was dealing with in Mexico City. And he told me if he'd have been there, he would have never let it happen. He said that would have never happened. But it was just, they done what they wanted to do. In between rounds, I mean, this is public knowledge. In between rounds, the German referee is going over to the corner. Hey, he's behind on the cards.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, so when I heard about all this stuff, I mean, like, did I want to, sue or whatever? I mean, I'm like, it's kind of weird. I mean, they allowed this to transpire. But no. But Mr. Jose Suleiman, he gave me an honorary light heavyweight championship belt, and I'm really thankful for that. And his son, Mauricio Suleiman.
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy because...
past crazy.
Like you said, in the middle of the fight, they gave Rajani's corner the actual judges' scores.
They were in
which gave
instructions
him
or
an
whatever.
unfair advantage.
Yes, it is.
So then, 3 months later, WBC said that he was not the champion. He had to sue to get the belt back. And then in
It's a bad
2021, way later, the WBC told you that they had found irregularities in the bout and they were sending you a world title belt. So you actually got the world title belt
Exactly.
way later.
Way later.
My God, this was 98, so this was like 23 years later?
Exactly. That's what I was shocked myself.
23 years later,
Yeah.
you get a belt.
Exactly.
Isn't that just sort of wild?
I mean, hey, man, I ride with the punches, man. I don't make no excuses. I mean, I'm thankful for it, but unfortunately, I wish I could have got it back in 98. I beat the guy fair and square, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, I didn't.
Well, you were supposed to fight him like way, way later, but then he died.
Oh, exactly. That's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He got hit
that was
by a
tragic.
car.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was tragic. Yeah.
He got hit by a car, so that was, the end of that
Sad.
whole,
You know.
whole
And we don't want to speak ill of it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And it wasn't his fault that they were cheating.
No,
and
no,
so
it
forth.
wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Because it was weird because Joe Gooser told me like the 12th round, he's going to go out there and just hands up, chin down, and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting your shots together. There's no reason for you to go out there and try to knock him out. I mean, you're comfortably ahead in our minds. That's what we anticipated. Just go out there and just, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And we done that. And so I remember Joe saying at the end of the 12th round, he said, well, go out and go collect your 3rd world championship belt. And I go out there and they get this guy a split decision. I didn't look like what? But hey, it's boxing.
Okay, so then you fought Vincent Duran.
Yeah, I think that's the name.
10-round unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm.
And this ended up being your last fight. Yeah. Now you're 39 years old.
Yeah, I'm done.
Did you know you were done, or did you think you had a few more fights?
Yeah, there was really no need to keep fighting for what? I mean, there was nothing for me, no more for me to gain. I mean, all the big fights was pretty much gone, and didn't nobody really want to fight me, the younger guys, whatever. So I'm like, hey, be going to step down,
Okay, but then that same year on August 6, 2002, you were in your hometown of Davenport, Iowa, and you get arrested.
Yes, I do.
Now, I had to read over this a couple of times to make sure that I actually got the story right. They say you were arrested when you paid an undercover agent $200
That was wrong.
kilo of cocaine.
It was no undercover agent. It was a guy, his name is Mark Lou. I mean, hell, the whole world knows. I mean, my case is over with, and he ratted on me or whatever. What happened, I guess the feds had coerced him to, I guess they said they've been trying to get me anyway. I mean, they alleged they had a 10-year drug conspiracy on me or whatever. That's what they say. I'm like, 10 years, it took y'all 10 years to come get me? I mean, hey, I don't know. I mean, why would it take you 10 years? I mean, you act like I'm running a multi-billion-dollar corporation of drug smuggling or drug participation. This kid that got jammed up, I guess, in Missouri, and I guess it's like, well, you know anybody or whatever? I guess he's like, I know Michael Nunn, and the feds allegedly had this investigation going on with Michael Nunn, so they used him as an informant to set me up, and that's what it was, you know what I'm saying? And he gave me the dope, and I gave him the money and said, I'll give you the rest of the money later or whatever. And when I go outside, you got the police out there waiting on me. So he orchestrated the whole demonstration.
Okay, because the way I read it was that you bought a kilo of cocaine for $200.
No.
Back then, kilos were going for what? 17, 20,000?
17 to 20,000 at that time. But
Right. So $200,
exactly.
you can't even get a dime back.
Exactly.
For that
And like I
much.
said, the deal was done with him. There was never no undercover agent. He was an undercover agent. He's working with the feds to conspire against Michael Nunn to get me jammed up in the conspiracy. He had the drugs. It was me and him in the room. There was the FBI outside. When I go outside, they outside waiting in the hallway with me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, waiting to arrest me, but I mean, the informant was him.
Well, at this point, the case is done. You've done your time.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about what actually happened. Number one, were you doing cocaine during that time?
Well, was I dealing cocaine?
No, were you using cocaine?
No, I never used cocaine a day in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's one thing the feds even know. They like, well, one thing about it, he was smart because, I was hustling. I was never. I'm no drug user. I got no drug usage from a fighting career, from nothing. I mean, I've been done fighting for 20 years. I mean, I wouldn't do it today. You know what I'm saying? It was unfortunately I got hooked up with some people when we started hustling, and next thing you know, I'm selling dope. But like I said, I was never a drug user. No.
I mean, look, I've been guilty of the same thing. When I was in my 20s, I bought a kilo of cocaine, and the guy that I bought it from ripped me off. And, we all do stupid stuff.
We all do stupid stuff.
I'm in no way, like I said, I was just as dumb doing stuff that I didn't need to do, even though I had money.
I was super stupid. You know what I'm saying? At once upon a time,
But you had made millions of dollars
Right.
from boxing at that
Right.
point. What gave you the idea to start selling cocaine on the side?
Well, I had some cousins and stuff. They was hustling, and next thing you know, I'm in the mix with them, and things just started, transpire. I mean, you start getting money and just fuck the world, like Pac said. But you just have a tendency to get lost. You know what I'm saying? When you get off your path. You know what I'm saying? But there was never no use to be using drugs. I sold drugs, and I tell people that. I said I never used drugs. I sold drugs. And that's not glorifying or trying to be somebody that I'm not. It's just the truth. And one thing about truth, it needs no support, no alibi. There's no drug They ain't never took no test and say it's cocaine or heroin or meth or fentanyl in your system. Never in life. You can't get a record nowhere on the feds will tell you that. They're like, well, he was sharp. He sold it. He got his money like that. I wasn't trying to be a user or none of that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not glorifying that.
So you would buy kilos and then what?
Yeah. Break them down and we sell them
to other guys?
Yeah, break them down and, I had a line going, you know what I'm saying, in my city, you know what I'm saying, once upon a time.
Yeah. How many deals did you do by the time you got caught in that one deal?
Now that it's so uncountable, you know what I'm saying? The number was so high, so impeccable.
So you had been doing it for a while.
Been doing it, they said 10 years, so I mean, that's what the Fed said.
Well,
so
your co-defendant, the guy who snitched on you, said that you were doing this since 1993.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even know me in 93, but that's what he said, you know what I'm saying? He didn't look at, that guy didn't even know me in 93, you know what I'm saying? But that's what he said, you know what I'm saying? You know? The Feds, they said about a 10-year, they said a 10-year run. That's what they said. And, you know, if that's what they say, hey, I went to jail for it, so I mean, hey, you know.
Well, you said it was a mistake, and there's no one to blame but myself. I was
Always.
raised right, both at home and through my boxing career, but that doesn't stop me from making silly mistakes in my life.
I made some dumb mistakes, and like I say, when I went to jail, Vlad, you know, I could have told on a gang of people, you know, that they wanted it or whatever, and I'm like, hey, them people ain't done that. Whatever I done, I done. I went to the federal penitentiary, done 16 years, 6 months on my own. I didn't do it with no help with nobody other than my family and my supporters. But I'm saying, I ain't gonna go to jail. I'm telling nobody. Whatever I was doing, when I was getting my money, doing what I'm doing, I wasn't telling them, so why would I tell? Because I get jammed up.
Yeah, I remember when I got ripped off for the kilo of cocaine, and I spent $17,000. I gave this guy $17,000.
Okay.
And then he claimed the cocaine was fake, and he was going.
But it's always some drama.
There's always, you know. I mean, I was
that's just part of the game.
You know, he
you
knew
know
that I wouldn't. I had no repercussions. You know, there's no repercussions from doing that.
There you go.
And
So
I
he
remember
got away
for
with
years
it.
and years, I was mad about it, even
Yeah.
when that amount of money didn't matter. I
never had nobody take nothing from me. No money, no drug, none of that.
Yeah. So this guy stole from me, and I was a little salty about it. And I remember when I interviewed Freeway Ricky Ross.
My dear friend, I know Rick.
Oh, you know Ricky?
Yeah,
okay.
Rick's my man.
You know
Yeah,
exactly
no
who
doubt.
it is.
Yeah.
And I remember I told him that story for the first time publicly.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Vlad, you do know that if he didn't rip you off, you would have probably ended up in prison. And then the light bulb just went off in my head. I said, oh, I'm not mad about this anymore.
No, well, you know, once put things in respect, because when people take something from you, especially in the drug world, you know, you gotta retaliate.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's, you know, like say, you gotta go back, you gotta shoot this dude, you gotta stab him, you gotta do whatever. You gotta do something, because when you're selling drugs and people thinking like, well, man, I got such and such from dude, and you know, he ain't doing that.
Right.
So you become a sucker, you know what I'm saying? Guys come around your way, want to jack you, want to take stuff, and just, it puts you in a real messed up disposition, because you don't want to have to be forced to hurt nobody, because that's what's going to end up happening if you keep, you know, losing your money, you know?
Well, you said no one ever robbed you while you
No.
were, you know,
No,
selling drugs, but
never.
You do get in bad situations along the way. You
Yeah,
know?
there's
I mean, what do you
times.
think was the worst? I mean, up until the time you got busted, what do you think was the worst situation in terms of your drug dealing that you got into?
I really didn't have too many bad situations. I'm glad to be honest with other than Mark Lou setting me up. I really didn't, because when I gave people stuff, I'd be out of town sometime and just, hey, drop the money off, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd be way in Las Vegas, LA somewhere. They back an hour doing whatever doing. And the people I had with me, they were some solid dudes, and they knew they, man, just, you know, by the time you get back, just give them the money. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want the problem. I mean, they working, and like I said, if I tell you to give somebody something, I want to, you know, just get the money back. Let's not have no misunderstanding. No, you know, let's not do that. Because when you came, got it, we give it to you, so just bring the money back, brother. I don't want to be put myself in harm's way, you know, to have to go pull a pistol or do something or shoot somebody to get $20,000 or $30,000, whatever the case may be. It's not worth it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the bigger problem is, you know, you got all these guys who are selling drugs who have aliases. You don't know their real name. You don't know who they are.
Right.
You're world champion Michael Nunn.
Right.
So just being who you are, that's going to put you on the radar of
It's gonna
police,
definitely do that,
because
yeah.
you're a big fish at this
Right.
point.
Oh, big fish,
One
especially
thing
back in
to
Alabama.
bust some guy no one's ever heard of,
Right.
to bust world champion Michael Nunn for buying
Oh,
a
yeah.
kilo,
Right.
that's a whole
That's
different
major
story.
news, man.
That's
And,
major news. People
you know,
make their careers off of
they
it.
do, they do.
You know, in terms of prosecutors.
Oh, definitely the prosecutor, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
he tried to make a big name for himself. Like I told him, I was bigger than him before I went to jail. I'll be bigger than him when I get out. But that's the things you have to deal with, you know.
Well, you ended up pleading out. If you didn't plead out, how much time were you facing?
If I didn't bleed out, they probably gave me maybe a little bit more time than what I got, I think, because I got 24 years. So I know the prosecutor was trying to get 32, and the judge told him right there at the court, said, we're not going to do that, because the judge happened to be a nice judge. He's retired now. He's a senior judge. He's retired, and he really looked out for me, because the prosecutor trying to make it sound like I was the John Gotti of my city. They had the city police come in and say, well, how they scared of me, and every time they got to apprehend me, how they got to bring a force of men, and they paint the picture. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't never heard nobody. The judge even said, he said, hey, I see you stopped a lot of stuff in your community. They got, I live on Iowa side. We got a bridge called the Centennial Bridge and the Arsenal Bridge that separates Iowa from Illinois. And, they go back and forth. They've been doing that for 100 years, Davenport's better than Rock Island, Rock Island's better. And it's just, for years it's been going on. It's been going on for 100 years, but there was no that type of activity. Just, just that people, they're going to make things bigger than what it really is. The prosecutor tried to make it sound like, I'm a drug kingpin. I ain't no drug kingpin. I tell anybody that. Did I sell drugs? Yes, I did, but I was no drug kingpin.
Well, you pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute cocaine. You had 2 co-defendants that snitched on you.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne D. Reiner and Lawrence D. Brown. Reiner agreed that he conspired to distribute more than 5 kilograms of cocaine with you and Brown from 93 to 2002.
I don't even know these guys.
Right. What's funny is that you were a world champion in 93. So.
Yeah, but I don't even know these guys.
Okay.
I mean, that's the sad thing about it.
Reiner agreed that he was involved in storing and distributing cocaine for you since 93 to 95, and that you guys distributed between 2 and 15 kilograms of cocaine. You were facing, I actually looked it up, 5 to 40 years. I mean, when you heard, you're 40 years old at the time, when you hear that you're facing 40 years, right, you'll get out at 80 years old.
Exactly.
Meaning that you might not get out.
You might not get out because, 40 years is a long time, especially
Yes.
in the jail. They die in the penitentiary too.
Right.
Not just from health reasons, but, altercations.
I mean, were you freaking out during this time?
No, I'm not really, no. I mean,
Really?
because, no.
Okay.
I didn't sweat it, because I prepared myself for whatever I had to do, whether it's go to prison or wherever I done it in the streets or wherever. I mean, I'm gonna have to be me no matter what. I mean, when it's time for me to go to jail, I had to man up, put my big boy boots on and go to jail. The feds will tell you, all the time I was there, I had 3 altercations in 16 years, 6 months, because you always gonna have a guy thinking he's tough, right? But, the guys, the real men that respect real men, they're like, well, you want to go with shorty? I mean, go on over there and man up, whether you do it with the knife or you do it with these. But if you're saying you want to do it with these with him, you got to be crazy, so go ahead. The institution told me, they said, listen, this guy got to be a freaking nut to want to fight you. You know what I mean? I mean, it's one thing to fight me with a knife or a shank, but he want to fight me with his hands? How stupid can you be? So,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all one-hitter quitters, and not to be bragging or nothing, but, I mean, my last fight in prison, I said I'll never fight again, because if I fight again, I'm going to kill somebody. And you kill somebody in the federal penitentiary, you get a life sentence.
Well, did the feds offer to make this whole thing go away if you cooperated?
Well, they always going to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the feds, and not to glorify nothing. I mean, whoever they catch, whether it's John Gotti, Sammy the Bull, whoever, any major guy or whatever that's got a connection, they want to barter or whatever. And I said, hey, man, I'm going to do my time. Said, you're going to give me 24 years, I'm going to do my time. I'm not telling on nobody. Because when I was doing what I'm doing, getting money, doing whatever I'm doing, I done it. And I'm not going to be no turncoat. I'm going to be a man. Because, whether you do it living or dying, you got to be who you are. And I never want to be known as a rat. And whatever I was doing, I done. And I can accept my responsibility. I went to jail, I done my time, and I don't owe nobody nothing. I don't owe nobody no money in the streets. I don't owe the feds nothing. I'm off federal paper. I mean, I'm blessed, and I thank God for it, and I'm moving forward, brother. I'm not looking back.
2004, U.S. District Judge William Gritzer sentenced you to 292 months.
It was 24 years and 4 months.
For 1 kilo, first-time offender?
No, they were
Sounds
saying,
crazy.
no. They alleged that I dealt like 25 kilos. That's what
I understand
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you were caught with 1 kilo.
Well, that's the thing about it. That's what I'm saying.
Everything else is hearsay.
That's exactly what it was. So I'm thinking I'm looking at anywhere from like 36 months or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'd already been in jail for 2 years. I'm thinking I'm going to be out.
So you didn't get a bond?
No, well,
Oh, so
no.
you were
no.
sitting in jail the whole time?
The whole time, you know what I'm saying? You know?
Why did they give you a bond?
Well, they said because of this and that. They said, if they let me out, they got to worry about tracking me, and I got too many international connections. And they like, well, even though I said, well, you guys got my passport.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you can go to Canada, you can do this, you go to Mexico. It was like they didn't want to let me out. They what it was, people back in Iowa want to make it sound like I'm a major drug player, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm hooked up with the El Chapos and the Escobars and all that. It was really blown completely out of proportion, the way they orchestrated the thing. And I'm like, well, anybody in my town, you go back there now or then, ain't nobody ever tell you I'd beat them up for no drugs because they owed me money or none of that stuff. If anything, I think I helped more people than anything.
Well, some of the people that actually testified as witnesses during their sentencing were already in prison.
Well,
and
exactly.
were using that information to try to lower their own time.
Well, and that's exactly what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, some of those people happen to be relatives. That's the sad part, but
your relatives testified against you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They already in jail, and the feds had told them well, this and that, you know what I'm saying? And it was just tragic and sad, but, you know, I mean, you know, I forgave them, so, you know.
You forgave them, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to do, go kill them and go back to jail? You got to remember, they're government witnesses. So if I go, they see me, and I say, well, hey, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to do this and that, and they report me to the feds going to come get me because you must understand these people are government witnesses. They just like the police.
Well, I mean, you were defiant through the whole hearing.
Yeah, I had to be.
You accused the government lawyers of lying and scheming against you.
I to this day won't nothing change my mind. That's right, lying and scheming, and that's what they done to get me. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that you being defiant through the case made the judge give you a heavier sentence?
No, the judge gave me a lot of sentences.
Oh.
The prosecutor was wanting me to get 32 years, and so they said, no, they're going to give me the lowest for my crime, right? So it was the 24. You know, the prosecutor, he wanted me to get more time, and the judge stopped it. Judge Grishner. Hell, wait a minute. No, he said, hey, man, I mean, everything he done wasn't bad. Let's talk about some of the good stuff he done. He knew I stopped a lot of shootings, a lot of gang stuff that was in the community. And I'm no gang guy, but they knew me. And if I go talking to the brothers, they would listen to me. You know, I had their ear to the, you know, when I was in the streets doing what I was doing, they would like, listen, I say, man, y'all want to box it out, y'all box it out. You don't need y'all around and shooting, man, because they do bring more heat. So the feds know, to this day, they know that something going on in my city, and when I do it, I'm doing it not because I'm involved. It's just I don't want to see the kids getting shot or shooting at the police or shooting at nobody else. I want to let the kids know, go to school, get your education, man. Be who you want to be without all this nonsense, you know what I'm saying? And for the ones who want to do it, hey, man, y'all do what y'all do, you know? I'm not going to stop nobody from doing what they want to do, lad. But if I give you some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, I hope you take it, because what you doing, I used to do. And I'm not glorifying that. You know, your freedom is more important than anything, but a lot of times we don't realize that till we get to the penitentiary. And then you're like, oh, shucks, but now you got to do the time.
You accept your plea deal, you get your 24 years, then you get transferred to the feds.
Yeah.
How was that first night?
It was crazy, man. But I mean, hey, when I got there, I was already prepared. You know, the almost 2 years that I'd done in the county jail prepared me, because I'd never been locked up from, like, I think I had to do like a week. I'd done something to a police officer. I threatened to do something, beat him up or something. And the judge said, hey, no, what I'm doing, I'm just give you a week in jail, you know what I'm saying? Give you something to think about. So that's as long as I'd ever been in jail before I'd done that 16 years, 6 months, you know what I'm saying? And it was foolish, but hey, I did it. And, you know what I mean? I'm thankful I got through it. And I'm back again, and what's happening, you know what I'm saying?
Right, so now you're in the feds. No more mansions, no more private flight.
Oh, no more drop top,
Michelin star dinners.
No more none of that. Oh, that's over with, man. It's top ramen,
done.
brother.
Top
ramen, you know
ramen.
what I'm saying?
Top ramen, prison food.
Exactly.
You're surrounded, no more women.
Oh, that's over. Oh, it's over with, man.
You got a bunch of men around you.
Bunch of dudes, yeah.
Bunch of dudes, bunch of gang members, cartel guys.
Oh, yeah. Mafia guys, the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? Tough guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Some tough, some not, but everybody's tough in prison, you know what I'm saying?
Were you the most famous guy in your prison?
Most of the occasions, yes, but you know, there's a few drug cartel guys, a few mafia guys, whatever.
Right, no, but I don't mean criminal famous.
Famous as far as just
mainstream famous.
Yeah, mainstream. Yeah,
so
mainstream.
You were a celebrity in your prison.
Yeah, mainstream. Yeah, I think I was. You know,
in general, did people admire you and look up to you and everything else like that, or were certain guys trying to test you as well?
You know, a lot of guys really admired me, but you always gonna have some testers. I mean, you've been in prison. I mean, you know, you always gonna have a tough guy. So, you know, but I mean, it was respect tough. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't somebody pushing up on me or nothing. But, you know, it's always guys go, you know, because they lift weights and they this and that, and they gonna go around and, you know, and never phased me in the street or prison or the boxing ring. But, you know, you deal with it. But, you know, as long as I don't respect you, I don't care. You know, you can stand over there and mean mug all you want to. It's like when you get in a man's face and, you know, you try to, you know, chomp him or do something. But
Yeah, I don't think they want to see those hands, but
Well, exactly. I didn't have those type of problems. I mean,
Right.
it was on a respectful note more so, you know what I'm saying? Even with the authorities, the police officers, you know what I'm saying? Some like you, some didn't. You know, I just tried to just follow the rules when I was in jail, you know what I'm saying?
you had how many fist fights?
3.
3. You won all 3.
3 all one-hitter quitters, you know.
Okay.
And, you know,
Knockouts.
one-hitter quitters, you know.
I mean, were you put in the hole for the fights?
No, believe it or not, I pretty much got away with all the fights all the knockouts, because the last fight when I knocked my man out, he's my partner, older dude. He used to box in the Texas Golden Gloves. He weighed about 220, a big dude, and he hit hard, this and that. And he used to always think he can whoop me, but the brothers used to tell me, they said, "Man, you all right fighter, but you can't whoop that man. That man's a professional fighter." But he was just a derelict, a hard head, just stupid. You know what I'm saying? And once I knocked him out, you know, he like, oh, it's real now. But you know, I just stopped, you know, being friends with him because I don't fight my friends. You know, unfortunately, I had to do that to him. But after that, I said I ain't gonna fight no more in jail because I know my next fight I probably just hurt somebody. Ain't no come home after that. You kill somebody in jail, you do a life sentence.
But a lot of times, jail fights involve weapons.
9 times out of 10 they do, but
Right.
that was kind of weird.
Homemade shanks.
Yeah, always that,
You know,
always.
and
And a guy like
whatever
me, but you know, guys is plastic minds. They think, well, I think I got a chance. I'm bigger than him, stronger than him, whatever, and I'll grab him or whatever. You know, I don't know what they were thinking, but boom, one shot each time, boom, I turned it over and good night, sweet prince.
So no one ever pulled a knife on you.
No, I would never let them. You know, I come from the streets, so I know when guys are coming here or coming with the weapons. So, and I always be close enough to be able to do what I want to do because in jail, you just never know what a man might have.
Right.
You know, you
Did you
can't
ever have a
trust
knife-
it.
Did you ever have a knife yourself?
I'm gonna keep that to myself because I don't want the people saying, "Hey, man, you know, whatever you're saying." So,
Fair enough.
you know,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah, you know.
I mean, you always hear about the rapes in prison.
Oh yeah,
Was that something that you saw happening around you?
not necessarily. I mean, I knew it transpired. I knew it went on, but you know, I was just always whatever celly I had, I was just always on man time with him. And you know, most of the time, it's not like you can't do time with a black guy, Mexican guy, or whatever. It's you know, you black, you gonna have a black celly. You white, you gonna have a white celly. You Mexican or Asian, whatever the case was. And I just try to have understanding. Whatever you do, whatever your get on is, just don't bring it to me because you know, I mean, I don't care what you do, but I had some pretty good cellies, man. I must say, from a respect standpoint, we kept our spot clean. It was respectful. We didn't have people running out the house like it's a drug house. Because one thing about it in jail, you know, stuff goes on in jail, which they know, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want a whole bunch of dudes hanging out in front of my housing unit like we run in a trap house. So my celly was always respectful to the degree to like, hey, child, you know, when you're in the cell, I'm gonna let you do your thing. When I'm there, I'm gonna let you do your thing. And that was that. I had some pretty good cellies over the 16 years, 6 months. And, you know, I mean, they were good guys. And I've bumped into a couple guys. And since we've been home, I say, man, just do what you do, man. Just be the best you can be, man. And keep it moving.
Well, 2019, you're 56 years old. You get released from prison on August 8th. 16 years, 6 months.
Yes, sir.
When you're getting close to the release date, did you know you're getting released on that date?
Yeah, believe it or not, they called me to the office one day, right? And I'm thinking like, what the hell going on? Even though some stuff was going on, I'm like, well, they don't know about that. I mean, who done told or whatever, right? So I'm like, I go see my counselor, and she tell me to come in her office. So I come in her office, she tell me to close the door. And anytime a man's in jail and he's with a female, you don't close the door, right? I said, no, I'm not closing the door, because I'm thinking like, why would you want me to close the door? That's against the rules, you know what I'm saying? She said, I'm giving you a direct order. Close the door. So now, if there's a record or anything going on, you know, they heard me like attest, like I'm not gonna close the door because we're not supposed to be in a closed room with a female officer in federal prison, you know. And I tell her, I said, well, no, I said, when she gave me the direct order, I said, so you're giving me a direct order to close that door. So they got a record, whatever the case was. And I said, okay, I closed the door. She said, Miss Nunn, I got some good news for you. So to myself, what I'm saying, Vlad, how the hell you got some good news for me? I still got like 5 years and 5 or 6 months to do, right? Fuck, you got some good news for me, right? And she said, well, such, you're going to be released in like, I think it's like 60 days. And I'm saying to myself, 60 days? I still got 5 years to do. She said, this new law passed, and they accept you or whatever. So you got the 2-point reduction. So it's going to kick you out the door. You're going to go home February 6, 2019. So boom. I mean, my heart dropped, you know. I talked to her for a few minutes, and she said, well, you can leave now that I told you, whatever. So I said, thank you very much, and I'm gone. So, you know, when you're going home from prison, it's not no thing to go around bragging about I'm leaving in 60 days, whatever, because You got some guys that might like you, might not like you. They might create a problem, you know.
Yeah.
You catch a fight or something, man, come on, all that's dead.
Yeah,
One fight. Once they saying you're released and you do something stupid, I had to pump it down. Just stay in my own lane and just be cool and just mind my own business. And when they see me, I'm going out the gate. Tell them where you going. Hey, man, R&D. When you at R&D, you out the gate. I got my bags with me, the stuff that I was taking, and that was mostly my letters or from my kids or my girls or whatever the parts. The thing was, or some pictures. The rest of that stuff, y'all had that stuff. The gym shoes, the sweatsuits, the beanies and all that stuff, the hoodies. You can have that, man. I'm gone, man. And that was my blessing. To leave February 6, 2019.
I mean, you come out after doing 16 and a half years. iPhones weren't around.
I'm
Michael
lost.
Jackson was still alive. Prince, you know.
Yeah.
Well, no. Prince.
No, they died. They died by then. You said died, right?
Yeah, Prince. Yeah. Prince died by then. The internet, the World Wide Web was not what it was. You're walking into a whole new world.
Abyss, man, a whole new world. Like, there's a brand new world from the time I went in back in 2001 to the time I was released in February 6, 2019. The whole world had changed, man.
The
That
whole
was
world
like
had changed.
the whole world.
And you're in for 16 and a half years, and there's a different set of rules about how you function in society than in prison. Like,
Yes, it
for
is.
example,
Oh, no doubt.
someone steps on your shoe in prison,
Time
people
to get out.
realize that, okay, you got to either apologize or else you might have a
Get 'em
fight
out.
on your hands.
Yeah,
Someone
you have a
bumps into
problem.
you at the grocery store, they're just going to keep walking like, as if nothing happened. And I know guys that, that I interview that struggled with trying to function on the outside on the level of disrespect and so
Right.
forth
It's
without
different.
relapsing and going back to prison.
Right, because it can happen so fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, was there a strong adjustment period where you had to like just get used to being in society again?
Well, it was definitely an adjustment. After being gone for 16 years and 6 months bad. I've always been a real respectful type of dude. You know what I'm saying? And people that know me knows that I've never been no disrespectful dude toward nobody. So, I think that, respect is everything to me. And, I had to walk on eggshells for a long time, because, trouble's so easy to get into. A dude figure he can bump into you because you just come home. And no, don't bump into me because I'm not going to bump into you. And if I do, just be courteous, man. Just say excuse me, And it's all about respect with me. So, but it was rough, but I got through it.
When you get out, are you still on probation?
Yeah, oh yeah. Now, when I got out after I'd done my 16-6, they gave me 5 years. I mean,
5 years probation.
they took me to the 12th hour before they let me off. I mean, I'm thinking they're going to wait 6 months before I get off and call me, but no, they took me to the 12th hour. But it was okay because I just always done what I done. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't change lanes. When I got out, I changed lanes, but the right way. I wasn't trying to rebel against the probation officer or none of that stuff because you violate, they send you right back to jail.
Well, right, because even though you're out, you're still technically in jail.
I was still technically in jail until August 19th of this year.
Exactly.
I was still technically in jail. So if I'm riding down the street with you, you got a pistol in your car, and the police pull you over, and they're like, well, who is the guy? Yeah, man, you want to know who he is, you ask him who he is. Hey, I'm Michael Nunn. And once they run that NCIS and see oh, you on federal paper. What are you doing with a guy? He's a felon, you're a felon, and you guys together, and you ain't supposed to be, I mean, that's bad news, man. You going back to the penitentiary.
Right.
So you had to walk slow when you got out here because this is where it's out. This is where it is out in the streets. Everything's out here. So you got to govern yourself who you messed around with. When I was back in my hometown, guys that was doing stuff, I mean, they was doing it, but they just wasn't doing it around me. I'm out everybody's way. I just stayed in my own lane, man. And
Well, right. When you're on probation, if you get pulled over, if I get pulled over, they need probable cause to search my vehicle.
yeah, but not
You're on
me.
probation, they don't need probable cause.
They don't need nothing.
Police show up at my house, they need a search warrant. They don't need a search warrant for you.
Anytime
You're
they
on
come-
probation, they could walk into your house whenever they feel like,
Whenever they wanted to.
tear your house apart.
Whenever they wanted
Whenever
to.
they want to.
You're on probation.
Exactly.
And
If
until
they
you
find
off
something,
probation,
then it's all over. You're
exactly.
right back.
I mean,
Yeah.
they find just say a joint of weed, one joint of weed, and they'll make it sound like I got 50 keys of heroin or cocaine up my house over one joint of weed. They'll make a big stink out of it because when they say they don't want you around weapons and drugs, they don't care if it's a joint of weed and be a bullet. And they come to your house and that bullet laying around, they can bring you back into custody and violate your parole and have you go back to the joint. It's amazing, man. One bullet.
One bullet.
Because I'm not supposed to be, once upon a time, I wasn't supposed to be around drugs or weapons.
Yeah.
So if they pull up on me in my car and I got a bullet, or if I got a gun with no bullets in it, I'm in violation.
How did it feel to finally be off probation?
Man, you know what, Vlad? It's a hell of a feeling. I mean, it's a way I hadn't felt in like 20-some years, because it took me like 21 years to be able to feel this feeling again, just to be able to say, hey, I'm free. The noose is off my neck. I can relax. I go places. I got to worry about nobody follow me doing this, that. Not unless you got a crazy fan or something. But other than that, I don't have to worry about the authorities. Hey, I'm out them people's way. I'm going to stay out their way. I hope they stay out my way, because I'm not going to do nothing to garner their attention. You know, they done whatever they done with me long enough. You know what I'm saying? I've been under investigation and all that stuff. So that's over with. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving forward, brother.
Well, in 2020, Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones. And that made you think that you might actually get back into boxing.
Well, I would get back maybe just on the exhibition level. I don't never want to fight again for no living, because that's over with. I mean, I had my time. But if a guy's going to catch wreck, if it's enough money involved, and it's the right guy, like, say, for instance, a guy named Antonio Tarver or Roy Jones, somebody of that nature, because we talk all the time as friends.
Weren't you talking about fighting Thomas Hearns?
Yeah, well, if Tommy want to do an exhibition, I'll do it if he wants to.
Yeah, still?
Oh, still. Him, Roy Jones, and Antonio Tarver.
Yo, Hitman, come on, let's do this.
Let's do it, Hitman.
I want to do it.
Hitman, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out.
All right,
and don't
there we
you come
go.
to L.A.
Michael Nunn officially calls out Thomas the Hitman Hearns. There you go. We'll see. We'll see if he's trying to duck you right now or not.
Throw Roy Jones' name in there.
And Roy Jones.
Throw Antonio Tarver, too.
And Antonio Tarver.
One love.
Let's go.
Yes, let's get it on, man. Let's get it in, brother.
Well, you actually tried kickboxing.
Oh, my God. Never want to do it again in my life, Vlad. Why'd you mention that, man? The man tried to kill my legs. Pat Miletich, the UFC welterweight champion, and he has to be a dear friend of mine. You know, we from the same community, and he always wrestled, played football, and done karate, and you know, he became the MMA champion. He's from Iowa too, MMA champion, world champion, right? And so when I got out of prison, you know, we all friends and stuff. We like, well, we talking one day. We in a limousine. We going to some fights up, and I want to say right outside of Des Moines, Iowa, or something. We just riding a limousine, having a couple beers, and we talking. And he said, well, what's up, champ? Let's me and you do it. I said, you for real? I said, what? I said, listen, man, I'm not doing that MMA where you choking and wrestling and stuff. He said, we're going to kickbox. I said, kickbox? I said, what the hell? I said, I know I can box. I learned how to kick. And my dear friend, Chris Jenkins, he died, I think last year. He started training me, got me prepared, and thank God he trained me to prepare me, because it's different from boxing. You know what I mean? The way that they train, condition. And you got to remember, Vlad, getting kicked and hit is too different.
Yeah, you said you didn't like getting kicked.
I don't want to do no kicking no more. The guy kicked me like 3 times in like 4 rounds, and I mean, it's horrendous. It's on YouTube if you want to go back and watch it. His name is Pat Miletich versus Michael Nunn. And I'm like, nah, man, no more of that. Dana White, I mean, you want me to talk with some fight stuff, which is like training the fighters, but no more fighting. It's over with. Those kicks are so excruciating, man. They hurt, man. I didn't think kicks hurt like that until I got kicked by this guy. And I mean, kicked the life out of me, man. I'm like, man, give me a gun next time I get in the ring with them MMA guys. Now, I box anybody. But when you get a chance, you go back and watch the fight, Vlad. And it's weird. I'm laying on the ropes like Ali, right? And I forgot that we kickboxing. So he threw a couple punches, but then he kicked. Oh, man. It's like he took a baseball bat. I said, never again, man. No more kickboxing. I'm retired. But one thing about it, I beat the world welterweight champion. I'm 1-0 as a kickboxer. Yeah. I'm retired.
There
no
you
more.
Go. 1-0.
1-0. And one and done.
One and done. Well, in 2022, you got inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame.
Oh, man. Crowning achievement moment, no doubt.
With
Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, and all them other great fighters. Holyfield, and a whole host of other guys. I don't remember everybody's name, so don't y'all get mad and want to fight me when I see you, but had a great time, and I want to thank Rich Murata. Rich Murata's a dear friend of Dan Goose's. Matter of fact, when I moved to L.A. back in '84, Rich Murata come to the LAX airport with Dan Goose to pick me up to bring me back to the San Fernando Valley. What's up, Rich? Peace to you and the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame.
Well,
oh, wait just a second. Now that you say that, not to cut you off, they just sent me something yesterday. They put me on the ballot for the International Boxing Federation World Hall of Fame in New York in June of 2025. So they put the ballot out now, and then I guess people vote, and then they'll announce the winner after the first of the year. So, God willing, I'm one of the guys they put on the list for the 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame, and that's the one I've been waiting on.
Well, yeah, I mean, you deserve it. 3-time world champion, 2 different weight classes.
Well, exactly. No doubt about it. I think my time's coming. I think 25 is going to be great, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Mike Tyson, who's 58, a few years younger than you, supposed to fight Jake Paul, 28, later this year, allegedly. Because it was supposed to happen already, but Tyson hurt himself.
Tyson got sick or something or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think is going to happen in this fight?
To
Based
be
on your
honest,
professional boxing experience.
if Mike Tyson just goes out there and do what Mike Tyson does, he's going to obliterate. He's going to just, I mean, who wants to be at the end of a Mike Tyson left hook to the liver or to the chin?
But there is a 30-year age difference.
Well, and age is a big difference. Now, if Tyson got the condition and the skill set that we know that he's got, it's gonna be hell for the captain, man. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with him. I mean, with him actually fighting and wanting to fight and hurt you, I mean, hey, you know, I mean, good luck. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah, but they're using bigger gloves.
Well, that's true too. I mean, what, like 16 ounces or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're not using like the 10-ounce gloves.
No.
So I guess this is cause at first they were saying this is actually going to go into their professional records, but now since they're switching up the gloves, they can't do that anymore.
Okay.
Right? So this is essentially an exhibition match. I don't know, man. I'm kind of giving it to Jake Paul.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I just think the age difference is so huge, and I feel that...
How many rounds are they going, Vlad?
Oh, let me see. Let's look this up.
Yeah. Is it 6 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds? I don't know. And what is it, 2-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds? I mean, you know, those are all factors, you know what I'm saying?
8 2-minute rounds. 14-ounce gloves.
Okay. Oh, is it 14? Okay. They're going to be hell for the captain. I mean, especially with Tyson being so fast and furious the first 2 or 3 rounds. Now, hopefully his condition stands up because the guy's, what, 30 years younger?
30 years younger.
And he's young, he's big, he's strong.
He is big and strong.
Yeah,
now,
know.
he's not like a world champion boxer by any stretch of the imagination, but he is young, big, strong, and he takes it seriously.
Oh, he does?
Jake Paul takes his fight seriously, and he's
All
won.
right. Well, we don't take nothing from nobody
fights.
when you get in the ring. I mean, you know, it's a war when you get in there, and that's the mindset that you want to, you know, have in your mind that it's not going to be no cakewalk. But
But if you were to bet, you'd put your money on Tyson.
I'll put money on Tyson, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And, you know, before the interview started, me and you were talking about the greatest boxers of all time. And a lot of people would give it to Floyd Mayweather because he is 50-0 and he has the best record in boxing. But you actually don't say that he's the greatest boxer of all time.
No, I don't. And then, like I say, Floyd's my dear friend. I'm not saying nothing against him because he thinks I'm one of the best fighters. I'm one of his favorite fighters. And he's definitely one of my favorite fighters. You know, I'm just a Muhammad Ali guy and a Sugar Ray Robinson guy, even a Sugar Ray Leonard guy. And not taking that from Floyd. Floyd's a great fighter. I mean, to go 50-0 is static. And it's a crown achievement moment. But I'm old school and I'm a Muhammad Ali guy. I'm a, Sugar Ray Leonard guy or Sugar Ray Robinson guy. You know, even a Henry Armstrong. But, Floyd is no doubt about it. He's one of the greatest fighters of all times in the past 30 years, 40 years, I mean. But, I'm just a Muhammad Ali guy. I don't put nobody over Ali. And I love Sugar Ray Robinson. But Muhammad Ali is just my guy because he's the one that inspired me, and I don't never go against him.
I mean, if you were to put Muhammad Ali in his prime and Mike Tyson in his prime in the ring, what do you think would happen?
I would give Ali the edge, but Ali couldn't be getting caught by Mike early. I mean, in a good classic fight. I mean, and Ali would have to be moving and sticking and moving and not setting up, letting Tyson just, pot shot on him. I mean, I wouldn't want to see a young Ali and a young Mike Tyson just Ali land on the ropes with him, you know what I'm saying? Because it's too detrimental, you know what I'm saying? Too many things can happen. Tyson's a master trapper, especially when he got you on the ropes. He knows how to break you down, and that's all he needs is 1 or 2 punches to hit you, to get you out of there. So it wouldn't be a good idea to rope a dope with a guy like Tyson, especially at a young age, 24, 25 years old, getting hit by Mike Tyson.
Right, because Tyson was fast as hell.
Look here.
On top of being a massive puncher.
Wait, massive puncher.
Yeah.
A crushing puncher.
You saw him duck punches.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was one of the greatest slip artists ever. If you go back and just study the history of the game, he studied very, he was very articulate and very sharp when it comes to, the skills of boxing. And he learned that from Gus D'Amato because the way he taught him and trained him. He had him studying all these great fighters.
Yeah, I feel like Tyson lost to Buster Douglas.
Yes,
and I've
he did.
interviewed both of them.
Yeah.
Tyson feels it was a long count. When I watched it, I didn't think it was a long count. I felt like Buster was ready,
Bottom line
was
is,
ready to get up.
not just taking nothing away from Mike that night, Buster was just the best man that night. You just got to give props what they do,
was.
man.
And Tyson didn't take it seriously.
And that's
He
what
was
happens
partying with
when we
Bobby
don't-
Brown
well,
in Japan the night before.
You drinking sake and you up all
Drinking
night with the
sake with a
Japanese
bunch of
girl.
girls.
Exactly. Maybe tooting a little powder,
Yeah.
drinking this, drinking that.
Yeah,
I mean,
taking a
and then
little
got to go
drugs
fight
here and
tomorrow.
there.
I mean, that's nobody.
Yeah, it was the biggest upset in sports history.
That 42-1 was like,
Yeah, it was 42-1.
I mean, come on.
odds.
Well, we never
And so-
seen that like that in the history
No,
of the
you've
game.
never seen it. But I'm gonna say this: if he didn't go to prison after that fight,
Mm-hmm.
there would have been a rematch with Buster Douglas. Tyson would have taken it seriously, and he would have beat him. And I feel like the career that Tyson had would have went very, very differently. I mean, do you think that if Tyson had fought Holyfield without going to prison, he would have beat him?
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, because, one thing about Holyfield, not taking nothing away from Mike Tyson, Holyfield was just never scared of Mike Tyson. And that was
That
was
was
like
the thing,
95% of the game
Yep.
because a lot of guys go in shaking in their boots, you know what I'm saying, to have to deal with him. And, I've been around Mike Tyson and Holyfield for the last 40 years. We come up through the amateur boxing rings together. Matter of fact, me and Tyson, we're the only two Olympic alternates, I think, to win world championships off the '84 Olympic team.
Yeah.
He was a Olympic alternate to my dear friend Henry Tillman. Mike Tyson was, and like I was a alternate to Virgil Hill. Henry Tillman won the gold medal. Virgil won the silver, which I think Virgil should have won the gold, but he had the controversial decision with the Korean guy. It's the political drama that goes on in the amateur boxing.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that I mean, hey, it was crazy. I mean that. I mean Tyson. I mean, hey man. I mean he's gonna be hard to beat on any given day.
No, you're right, because when I interviewed Holyfield and I talked about their first fight, he said that Tyson won the majority of his fights because people were scared of him.
Well, I mean, think about it. They
It was
get in the ring.
intimidation. It was intimidation. But
the fact was strong.
Holyfield said that as soon as he got in the ring, he had to show Tyson that he wasn't scared because he wasn't scared of him.
Which he wasn't.
And,
you know what I'm saying? He
once
showed
Tyson
that.
figured out that this guy wasn't scared of him, it became a totally different fight, which is why Holyfield won both
Respect
those
factor
fights.
changes now.
It
You know
all
what I'm saying?
changed, yeah.
Because, I mean, plus Tyson come out there and hit Holyfield a couple hard shots, and he seemed like, well, this guy took this shot. He don't even take him. He come back and hit him with 2 or 3 of his own, give him something to think about.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about Holyfield. Holyfield wasn't scared of him. And
wasn't.
that was, 90% of his get over is not being scared, because when guys get in the ring with Mike Tyson, they trying to figure out a place where to fall at. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my $1 million and I'm going on. But Holyfield just didn't have that mentality, man. And I mean, he was just never scared of Mike Tyson. And it showed in the ring. He went out there and he executed, and he beat Mike Tyson.
And I think that's the biggest thing that Jake Paul will have to get over in that fight, is that he's in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Well, it's easy to do just when you just talk about it, but when you get in the ring,
You're actually in
it
the ring.
shows everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you get hit upside your head, you getting hit with those left hooks to the liver, and oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want Mike Tyson to hit me with a jab. I mean, forget the right hand and the left hooks and all that stuff. I don't want to get hit by you. Period.
Well, Michael Nunn, man, truly an honor to have you come in. I've always been a fan, so when I saw your name in my email, I said, "Oh, absolutely, we definitely got to."
Appreciate you, Vlad, and thank you guys for having me, man.
And I mean, the fact that you did so much time in prison, which I feel was unfair.
It was, but one thing about it, I had to get over that. I can't,
Yeah.
I can't stay stuck on that, Vlad.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to still build and grow, and I'm healthy. I mean, I'm good. I got some things going, and I'm gonna keep it moving, man. I mean.
Well, I mean, but at the end of the day, you came out, you seem well adjusted. I know a lot of prison guys that come out that just really are not the same anymore. Like something in prison changed them. You know,
Prison will
whether it
change
was extreme solitary confinement, things may have happened to them that they never want to talk about.
Right.
It seems like you did your time and you did it, on your own terms.
I try to stay in my own lane, man.
Stay
I
in your
keep it
own
easy,
lane.
yeah.
You boxed for a lot of years, but I don't see any CTE. I don't see any, slurred speech. You seem 100% lucid.
Well,
You know
thank you
what I'm
very much
saying?
for
Which
that.
isn't always the case.
Well, people tell me that all the time. That makes me feel great because
absolutely.
Well, it's always a great honor because people tell me all the time when we go to these events, they pick me to talk. Well, we want Michael Nunn to talk. Man, I'm like, well, what the hell? I mean, I thank God.
I've interviewed boxers
it's a
that
blessing.
can barely speak.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to name any names.
It's sad,
but-
man. I don't want you to name no names because
Yeah.
I don't want to be in agreement because
Exactly.
I see them too, and I got nothing but love for my brothers, man.
No, exactly, man.
Yeah.
This is a sport, and I think you said this in one of your interviews, like, it's not like a regular sport like basketball
It's not.
or,
It's not.
football, or even football or baseball. You could get hurt in boxing.
You can get hurt, man. I tell
get
everybody to box.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to little boys and little girls all the time, and I tell them, hey, take this thing serious
you could
because
die.
it's exactly
People die in
the
the
same
ring.
way you go in the ring, same way I want to see you come out.
Yeah.
I don't want to see nobody get messed up. I don't care. It's no color thing with me. It's hey, if you fighting, take it serious. I tell all these young kids, I talk to them all the time, and I be serious with them. I don't play no games. If you're gonna fight, be in shape to fight, because boxing is no play sport. You don't see no gas station around no boxing ring. So when you run out of gas, that's your ass. When you run out of gas in that boxing ring,
that's your ass. That's how we're gonna end it. Michael Nunn, man, truly a pleasure. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Vlad.
That's what it is.
Yes,
Peace.
sir, man.